Hey, my name is Jason Rivers. I'm 27, and I've spent the last 5 summers watching other people live the kind of life I can't afford.
By day, I'm a lifeguard on Santa Monica Beach. I rent a tiny studio 3 blocks inland that smells like salt and cheap ramen. The walls are thin. My mattress is on the floor, and my surfboard is the most expensive thing I own. I clock in, scan the water from my tower, blow the whistle when kids wander too far, and pull idiots out of rip currents. At night, I microwave something that calls itself dinner and fall asleep to traffic and waves. My world is simple: sun, sea, and just enough money to make rent. Then I dragged a stranger out of the ocean and she woke up thinking I was her dead husband.
Oh, it was late September, the tail end of summer. The sky was overcast, heavy gray. The forecast called for a swell, and the rip currents were already nasty. I was on Tower 14 scanning the water in slow sweeps when I saw it.
A red scarf flashing on the surface far beyond the break. For a second, I thought it was trash. Then it vanished under the gray-green water and my gut clenched. Someone was out there.
Possible swimmer in distress. Past the break east of 14, I said to the radio. I'm going in.
I grabbed the rescue can and sprinted. The water was cold, a shock that snapped every sense awake. The swell shoved me backward, chops slapped my face, salt burned my eyes. I counted strokes, forced my breathing steady. There. A pale hand reached the surface, fingers splayed desperately before disappearing. I dove. 10 feet down through the murk, I saw her. Dark hair fanning like seaweed, red silk scarf tangled around one arm. Eyes closed, mouth open, bubbles leaking out slow, too slow. I hooked my arm around her chest and kicked hard for the surface. She was limp, head lolling. The current dragged us sideways as I clipped the rescue can under her arms and started the brutal swim back in.
Come on, I panted. Stay with me. Nothing, just dead weight.
By the time my toes scraped sand, 2 other guards waded in to help. We hauled her onto the wet shore. Someone screamed. Someone else started filming. She was mid-30s, dark hair plastered to her cheekbones, skin gone a terrifying shade of gray-blue.
She's not breathing, Kyle said, fingers at her neck. No pulse.
I dropped to my knees and started compressions. 30 down, 2 breaths, repeat. The world shrank to the heel of my hands on her sternum and the prayer in my head.
Come on, breathe, come back. Jason, Kyle said quietly, we're at 3 minutes.
I didn't stop. 3 minutes is still salvageable. I pressed faster, harder. Suddenly she jerked. A violent cough exploded out of her. Seawater gushed from her mouth. She sucked in a ragged breath like it hurt, chest heaving. She blinked against the gray sky, then locked on my face. Her eyes were hazel, flecked with gold, wild with panic. Before I could say anything, her fingers clamped around my wrist with surprising strength.
Don't leave, she rasped. Please, you're my husband.
Everything stuttered. The cries, the surf, the distant siren.
Stay, she gasped. Jason, don't go.
She knew my name. I stared at her, brain scrambling. I had never seen her before in my life. Up! The paramedics pushed through the crowd. Ma'am, can you hear me? One said, wrapping a blood pressure cuff around her arm. She refused to let go of my wrist. Her eyes never left my face. My husband, she croaked. Jason?
The EMT glanced at me. You her spouse?
No, I managed. I'm the lifeguard. She hit her head, Kyle cut in, pointing to a red mark at her temple. Could be a concussion. They loaded her onto a stretcher. She whispered as they slid her inside the ambulance. Please, don't let them take you away again. Again. Go, Kyle murmured. You saved her. Finish it.
I climbed into the back. The door slammed, siren wailing. Name? The EMT asked. Jason Rivers. Not you, her.
Her eyes fluttered. Amelia, she whispered. Amelia Lawson. Do you know what day it is? She swallowed. Summer, we were on the boat. Her eyes slid to me, pleading. My husband, Jason, please don't let go again. Somewhere between Tower 14 and the hospital, my life stopped making sense. The ER was white light and antiseptic. They wheeled Amelia away for scans, leaving me in the hallway, barefoot, still in red shorts, sand drying on my legs.
You can go, a nurse said kindly. We've got her now.
But I couldn't move. Dr. Priya Shah, a neurologist, found me. She's stable, but the CT shows she took a hit to the head, temporal lobe, combined with the hypoxia that could explain the confusion.
Confusion, I repeated. You mean me?
She nodded. Her ID says Amelia Lawson, 34, Malibu. No ring, no spouse listed, just a sister. Sometimes the brain latches onto the first face it sees after trauma and weaves it into existing memories. In English, she might be confusing you with someone from her past, or her brain could be protecting her from the shock by giving her a safer narrative. Husband and boat instead of stranger and near drowning.
I rub my face. What do we do?
Monitor her. Keep her calm. If she fixates on you again, having you nearby might help. A familiar anchor, even if the familiarity is misplaced. You want me to lie? I want you not to traumatize a brain we're trying to stabilize. You don't have to say you're her husband. Just don't argue the point today. We can correct it gently once she's stable.
When a nurse said, she's asking for him, my feet went the opposite direction of the door.
Paul.
They moved her to a private room. Amelia lay propped on pillows, bandage at her temple. The red scarf sat folded on the bedside table.
Her eyes brightened when I stepped in. Jason? Something twisted in my chest.
Hey, I said softly. How are you feeling?
Like I swallowed the Pacific. She managed a small smile. Did we make it back to the dock? I glanced at Dr. Shaw in the corner. You're in the hospital. You took a hit to the head. Her brow furrowed. The storm, you went overboard. I dove in after you. Did I? Her hand flew to her mouth. Oh God, did I lose you again? Again. I'm right here, I said, moving closer. You didn't lose me.
Tears pooled in her eyes. I thought I was about to haunt that damn coastline forever.
Dr. Shaw cleared her throat. Amelia, do you remember what year it is?
Of course, it's 2017. The room went very still. And who's the president?
She named the wrong person. Dr. Shaw's pen scratched. She slipped out, leaving us alone. Whatever had happened in the water hadn't just knocked Amelia unconscious. It had knocked 8 years out of her life. Her sister Lauren arrived the next day, late 30s, sharp bob, sharper eyes. Oh my God, Millie, she cried, rushing to the bed. Lauren? Amelia blinked. What are you doing in L.A.? Aren't you supposed to be in New York with Jason? Lauren froze, stared at her, then at me. Who? She said slowly. My husband. Amelia reached for my hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. We were on the boat. There was a storm. He pulled me out. Lauren's face drained of color. Millie, she said gently. Jason died 8 years ago. The air left the room.
Amelia laughed brittle. That's not funny.
I'm not joking, Lauren whispered. He fell overboard during that storm off Catalina. They never found his body. You were there. You spent months searching, years grieving. You built an entire life without him. Amelia's grip on my hand tightened painfully. No, he's right here. Jason, tell her. Tell her you're real. Her eyes locked on mine, wide and frantic. In them, I saw 1,000 things I didn't remember. Birthdays, inside jokes, rainy mornings in bed. All the messy threads that tie two people together. None of them were mine. I opened my mouth, nothing made sense to say. Dr. Shaw stepped in, explaining words like retrograde amnesia and temporal lobe trauma. How the brain clings to the last stable narrative before a shattering loss. How for Amelia, the storm where she'd lost Jason Lawson 8 years ago had tangled with the near drowning from which I just pulled her. She's not seeing you, Dr. Shaw told me later in the hallway. She's seeing him through you. Her husband was also named Jason. That coincidence is gasoline on a fire her brain is struggling to put out. What are the odds? I whispered.
Low, but here we are.
So what do we do? Temporarily let her believe it. Ripping that away too quickly could send her into psychiatric crisis. We stabilize her, give her brain time to heal, then slowly reorient her to the present. She's going to have to relive his death. Again. Yes, she said quietly. But maybe this time, she won't have to do it alone.
I should have walked away. I was a stranger who happened to share a name with her ghost. My duty was done.
But every time I tried to leave, her voice stopped me. Stay, she'd whisper, half asleep. Please, Jace. So I stayed. At first, short visits during my breaks. She'd ask questions whose answers I didn't know. Did you fix the leak in the roof? Working on it, I'd say.
Do you still hate olives?
Yeah, those haven't grown on me. She'd laugh, soft and sleepy, and the sound would lodge under my ribs. Lauren was wary. You should go, she told me in the hallway. She's fragile enough without some random guy playing house because he has a hero complex. I'm not playing anything, I said. Your sister thinks I'm someone she lost. The doctors say if I argue right now, it could break her.
And what happens when they tell her the truth? When she realized the man she's been holding on to is just some beach bum with the same first name? I don't know, I said honestly, but she's less terrified when I'm in the room. Isn't that worth something?
Lauren sighed. Fine, stay. But don't you dare fall in love with her. She's already buried one Jason. She doesn't need another. The warning would have landed better if my heart hadn't already started ignoring good sense. Weeks blurred. Amelia moved from ICU to rehab. Her body healed faster than her memory. For her, it was still 2017. She had asked why there were so many electric scooters or why a building looked different. In her mind, we had years of shared history. My face, my voice, my hand in hers. They confirmed a story she'd already written.
I tried not to feed it. I avoided specifics, redirected when she asked about that Christmas in Tahoe.
But sometimes truth slipped through sideways.
One afternoon by the window, she asked, "Do you ever feel guilty? Being happy after everything?" "I feel guilty when I'm not on the tower and something happens," I said slowly. "Like today, Kyle's good, but if a kid gets pulled out and I'm here, I chose to be here instead of there."
She studied me. You always do that. Twist the answer so you don't talk about your own pain. You act like you're just the lifeguard on duty for everyone else's crises. You forget you're human too.
Maybe Jason Lawson had been like that. Or maybe she was seeing me more clearly than I was comfortable with. "Maybe I'm just better at CPR than feelings," I said.
She smiled faintly. You're better at both than you think.
Through photos Lauren showed me, I learned who she was. Amelia, on a sailboat, hair whipped by wind, in an office, whiteboard full of startup plans, at a charity gala, red dress and fierce smile.
She'd been a marine biologist once, then left the field after Jason died, unable to face the water that had taken him. She'd pivoted to running an ocean conservation nonprofit instead. She used to love the sea, Lauren said softly. He took that with him. Looking at her, I decided maybe it was time someone gave a piece of it back. But by late fall, Dr. Shaw said, the swelling's down. It's time to start reorienting her to the present, slowly. The first crack appeared over something stupid. We were playing cards when Amelia squinted at my phone. "Since when does your phone not have a home button?" I laughed. "Since like 5 years ago?" She stopped, her brow furrowed. 5 years? I watched the gears turning. "Jason," she said slowly, "what's the last thing you remember before all this?" I set the deck down. "What's the last thing you remember?"
She stared at the window. The boat. The sky going black. You shouting from the bow that the waves were wrong. Then you disappeared. I heard the splash. The railing was wet, slick. I reached for you and caught nothing. Her breathing quickened. I covered her hand with mine. "You're safe. Breathe."
I jumped in. Lauren screamed at me not to. The water was everywhere. I couldn't see you, couldn't hear you. Just waves, then nothing.
Tears welled. When I woke up here and they said you were gone, it felt like the ocean had followed me to land, like I was choking all the time.
My chest ached. "I don't know how you move on from that." She looked at me, really looked, like she was seeing me in a ghost overlaying. "You feel different," she whispered. "Like you're mine and not." "Amelia," I said carefully, "what would you do if the world turned out to be more complicated than the story your brain's telling you right now?" She laughed shakily through tears. "If you're asking whether I can handle the truth, eventually, probably." "Soon," I said, "one step at a time." The step came with a walk on the beach. "Ah." Dr. Shaw cleared her for short outings. Lauren volunteered. Amelia refused.
"I want Jason. If I'm going near water, I want a lifeguard with me."
So one December afternoon, I wheeled her down to the sand. The air was cool, sky bright blue. The ocean glinted like glass, deceptively calm. We stopped a safe distance from the shoreline. For a long time, she said nothing.
"I used to know every current along this coast," she said finally. "Could read the water like a mood ring. After Jason died, they all looked the same, just dangerous."
"I pulled you out," I reminded her. "I see danger out there. I also see people who forget how beautiful it is because they're too busy being afraid." Her gaze drifted to the horizon. "Why did you become a lifeguard?"
"When I was 12, I almost drowned. Got caught in a rip current. Some lifeguard dove in, hauled me back to shore, and vanished before I could say thanks. I figured the best way to pay it forward was to be that person for somebody else." "You saved me," she said. "Yeah, that part's real."
She was quiet. "Jason, how old are you?"
27.
She frowned. "You were 27 on the boat. That would make you 35 now. Something in her face shifted, a hairline fracture in the illusion. She looked at the lifeguard tower, at my red shorts, at my hands on the wheelchair. "You're not him," she whispered. Wind tugged at her hair. A gull cried overhead.
"No," I said softly. "I'm not."
Amelia's shoulders sagged, like someone had given her permission to drop a weight she'd been pretending wasn't there.
"How long have I been lying to myself?"
"Since the storm. 8 years. She laughed once, small and broken. "I always thought grief was like drowning, wave after wave until you can't tell which way is up. I never realized I'd been the one holding my own head under. I crouched so we were eye level. Your brain was trying to protect you. It held on to the last time your world made sense. By stapling his face onto yours." A tear slipped down her cheek. "That's so unfair to you. I've been called worse than a ghost." She reached up, fingertips grazing my jaw. "You're not him, but you're real. Very unfortunately." A shaky smile. "Did you ever think this was creepy? Me calling you by his name, clinging to you like a life raft you didn't sign up to be." "Honestly, at first, yeah. Then I realized you were drowning in a storm that never ended. If grabbing my hand helped you keep your head above water, I could handle a little identity confusion." She looked at the ocean. "What happens now?" "Now we tell you everything you missed. Slowly. You grieve again, probably. You scream, cry, throw things at your therapist. You remember that you built a life without him. And if you want me around for any of that, I'll be here. As me. Just Jason Rivers. Lifeguard. Terrible at feelings, okay at CPR." She studied me, seeing the differences now. "You stayed when you could have walked away? Hard to walk when someone's crushing your hand every time you try." She laughed, watery but real. "I don't know who I am without him." "Maybe," I said, unlocking the wheels. "We find out." I pushed her closer to the water's edge. The waves hissed and retreated.
"Will you hate me if I fall apart?" she asked. "Not my call to hate you, but I'll hold the pieces while you do."
Shit. Healing was messy and slow. Amelia had days where she woke convinced it had been a dream. She'd stare at photos Lauren brought and sob. Other days she was fiercely pragmatic, grilling Dr. Shah, attacking rehab exercises like problems she could solve.
Through it all, she let me see her. Her anger, her shame at having wasted 8 years, her guilt at the idea of ever loving anyone else. "Do you see me as me?" she asked once, "or as some broken project you saved from the waves?"
I thought of the first time I'd seen her, half dead, skin gray, scarf like blood. Then later, eyes sharp when she complained about hospital food, the way she'd argued with Dr. Shah, the way she'd laughed at my terrible impressions. "I see a woman who was brave enough to jump into a storm for someone she loved," I said, "then somehow brave enough to live when he didn't. I see someone who fights even when she's tired. I see Amelia."
She blinked back tears. "Not Jason's widow."
"Not to me." She was discharged in January to a bungalow in Malibu, overlooking the water she'd sworn never to face again.
On her first day alone, my phone buzzed. "Can you come?" I drove up the PCH. The house clung to a cliff, all glass and pale wood. Amelia stood on the back deck, blanket around her shoulders. The ocean spread below, endless.
"You came," she said. "You asked." For a long minute, we listened to the waves. "I got the Coast Guard report today," she said, "from 8 years ago. Jason Lawson fell overboard at 11:42 p.m. They searched until dawn. He never resurfaced. They declared him lost at sea." She swallowed. My brain knew it. My body knew it. I was the only one who refused to sign the paperwork.
We watched a lone surfer, tiny against the expanse. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Do you believe in second lives, not reincarnation, just the idea that you can live one whole life with someone, lose it, and still be allowed a new one?"
I thought about 12-year-old me gasping on the sand, about the nameless guard who'd vanished, about the long empty nights in my studio.
"I think if the sea keeps giving you back when it has every reason not to, maybe it's trying to tell you you're not finished yet."
She huffed a laugh. "You and your ocean metaphors?" "Cost of dating a lifeguard," I said, then froze. We hadn't said that word. Dating. We weren't. Not really. Amelia turned to me. "Are we?" "I don't know. I don't want to rush you or make you feel like you're replacing him with the closest available Jason model." She stepped closer. "You're not a replacement. You're the man who pulled me out when I decided I was done swimming. You stayed when I tried to drown in memories. You let me say his name without flinching. That matters. I care about you, I said. Not as his shadow, as you. She nodded, something inside clicking into place. Then maybe we stop pretending we're just patient and lifeguard.
What are we then?
She took my hand, warm and sure. Two people who survived storms they shouldn't have, standing on the same shore at the same time. Maybe that's enough for a start. The sun dipped lower, painting the water gold.
I squeezed her hand. Okay, we start there.
She leaned against my shoulder. For the first time since I'd met her, there was no desperation in her touch, no clinging to a ghost, just presence. Jason, she murmured.
Yeah? If I ask you to teach me how to love the ocean again, will you? I looked at the waves, endless and shifting. I'll teach you how to respect it, and I'll stand next to you every time you walk toward it, when you're ready.
She smiled. I think I'm finally ready to stop drowning in the past. She. People still ask me about that day on the beach. They want the dramatic version, the sprint, the dive, the CPR, the moment she called me her husband like it was a movie. But the real miracle wasn't that I pulled her out of the water once.
It was that she let me be there while she learned to breathe in a world where the man she loved was truly gone. And maybe make space for someone new with the same name and a different story. We walk the shoreline together now some evenings. Sometimes she tells me stories about the first Jason, his terrible dance moves, the way he burned pancakes. I laugh, and a strange, quiet peace settles between us. Grief isn't something you fix. It's something you learn to carry without letting it pull you under.
Love can be the hand that holds you up when the next wave hits. And me, I'm still just a guy in red shorts watching the water.
Except now, when I scan the horizon, I'm not just looking for strangers to save.
I'm looking for the woman standing beside me who once thought I was her past and chose me anyway for her future.